All right, guys, so today I am working on my first sweater on my Sentro knitting machine. So I'm gonna need 2 panels, well, 4 panels, because I have to make the sleeves and, you know, the front and the back or whatever. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. Let me show you the panel that I already have done. This is the first panel, and it's gonna start like this: blue, pink, orange, blue, pink, orange. I did do like this was my first panel that I did properly, you know, with the edges correct, not dropping any stitches, nothing like that. So I'm really proud of it. I am going to, throughout the process of this video, like share the biggest tip that I learned to keep your edges neat. Because before I learned how to really keep the edges as neat as possible, I did see this thing called cutting a steek. And I'll link the video for that. It's not on my page, it's somebody else's page. But what I did was I just made like a round panel, or not a round panel, but I made a tube, and then I cut the steek. Now, when you watch the video, you'll understand, but basically it's, you know, trying to reinforce 2 edges and then cut up the middle, which of course took more time than it needed to, but I really like neat edges. So I'm like kind of a perfectionist in that way. So I did that, but then I just kept looking at videos and like really practicing to try to get the best edge on the flat panel setting. So it's really just a matter of tension and making sure that you're watching what you're doing. So yeah, and another thing that I learned about like knitting in the panel setting is that it doesn't count the rows for you. So what I've been doing is just like counting by 5, and you'll see that in the making of this as well, because each one of these colors has 20 rows in it, because it's just easier to do something that's a multiple of 5 when you're counting by 5s. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'm going to work on making the 2, or the back panel, and then the 2 sleeve panels. And I hope you guys enjoy that in this video. That's who I'm making the sweater for. It is a very snowy day today.
There's footprints.
Yeah, there's footprints. I don't know what animal that is, but it's a very snowy day. And so we're just inside. So this is the first little bit that I have casted on. We've already got the orange row, or I'm sorry, we've got the blue row done here. And that's the first one, that's the first row. So now we're going to do the pink. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this, and my machine is gonna go back this way, so I'm gonna put it on this side, like hanging over this side, not hanging over on this side, but hanging over on this side. I put it on the other side of this, and just make sure it's in there in the feeder, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to hold this. I'm gonna hold this yarn taut with the end. This yarn is hanging off here on the end. I'm gonna hold these 2 together. So this is coming through the feeder, and I'm just gonna hold it together and give it some tension. I already have this also in the tension holder. And so then I'm just going to make sure it has tension, and then I'm going to, once it gets caught in there, I'm just going to continue on. Now, the first thing, or the main tip, is that when you get here, right, and it gets caught under, you want to make sure that you're pulling this to have tension so that when it goes back around and it's about to get caught under again, like the tension will help it get caught properly. Okay, same thing. I'm about to go back around. So that's 3 rows. Now I'm on 4. See, and you want to make sure that this is down all the way also. And this is 5. Okay. So I'm just gonna keep going, and then when it's time for me to switch, I'll come back again. Okay, so I'm done. And what I'm going to do is switch colors. So now we're gonna move on to the orange. We're gonna move on to the orange. And let's see. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take this out of here and then pull this out. Okay, and you just lay it down there. This hook that it's on, it doesn't grip anything, because whenever you're in the panel mode, it doesn't grip these 1, 2, 3 strings or 3 hooks. It doesn't grip it. Like it's not gonna become a stitch. So I just like let it hang. All right, so next thing we're gonna do is same thing, put it inside the tension thing and then put it in through this yarn feeder. Okay, and so like I said, last time I did the same thing. I'm gonna grab these 2 and hold them, right? Let me see if I can do it like this so y'all can see. And then, yeah, grab those 2 and hold them. And then I'm going to make sure that it gets gripped in the first one and then keep going. So this is the first one that it gets hooked onto. So while it's going, I'm always making sure that at this point, I'm pulling the tension down or pulling the string down to like increase the tension until it gets hooked under that first one. And then I just like let the tension go. And then same thing, I pull it down just until it gets hooked under that first one, and then keep it pushing. Okay, so that's 3 that we're on right now. And I'm just gonna go until it's time. Now we already have blue, pink, and orange done. So I'm pretty much just gonna keep going until I get the end, and then I'll meet you when I get to the end, when it's time for me to put on the other waist yarn. And we'll talk about that then. Okay, so we have all of the stripes on, right? And so now we wanna put on our waist yarn. I'm gonna use this leftover blue as the waist yarn. Waist yarn helps you get perfect edges. And when I'm crocheting these things together, or even if you're sewing them together, it's just easier to work into these really clean crochet stitches, opposed to having to, like, you know, pick up each of the stitches and all of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and do everything the same way, which is to just cast it on, and I'm just gonna do a few rows of it. As many rows as I can with this, but I do have waist yarn at the beginning, and I also have this one anchor yarn, and I'll show you why that's beneficial in a hot second. But let me go ahead and get this casted on. All right, so I was able to get 9 rows, and then I am going to turn my panel mode off and go back to tube mode, and then like just crank it around one good time. and then just keep on cranking around again, and it'll come off by itself. So do you see the way that the edges are? Imagine having to like sew these together. You don't want that. So here we have the waist yarn for the bottom, and we have the waist yarn for the top. Okay, so I'm gonna start on the waist yarn for the top, so that you can see. Now the reason that we have this anchoring one here is because when you take the waist yarn off from the bottom, you can simply pull this and it'll unravel, right? But since this is like working in the opposite direction, you can't do that on this side. So this, when you pull this out all by itself, it'll just detach this part. Okay, so I definitely recorded taking out that anchor yarn from here where I thought I recorded it and I didn't. But I will get it later when I do the arms, so don't worry about that. But now we are going to move on to this side, and we're gonna do the same thing I just did. So I have some leftover orange yarn, and we're just gonna do the same thing. Like, we're gonna turn it around so we can see, or so that this can be away from us. And we're just gonna do the same thing. Like I said, I like to go in through both of these starting out and tie yourself a slip knot. Get it on there. Okay, chain one, go right back in. And then you're gonna continue on all the way across, doing single crochets in each little loop that you see. Okay, so we have all of the single crochets on, and from this end, which is the bottom end, we can start to just unravel this yarn like normal. So where in the world is the end of the yarn? Okay, oh, there it goes. So it will just unravel. We have 2 panels done. Uh-oh, everything's falling. We have 2 panels done. This panel here and this panel that I worked on last night. This is what we have. So this is gonna be the front and back portions of her sweater. Now, I just need to measure how long the arms need to be. So let me get her real quick.
I think we'll just do the same thing. Thank you. We'll do the same thing. And so we'll probably take off like 5 pegs on each side. Or 4 pegs on each side, just to be safe. Yeah, so I'm gonna take off 4 pegs. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you what I mean with the anchor thread. So notice from up here, because this is where we actually started on the machine. Like, this is where we started. So the piece is going from here down. We can unravel this way, but we can't unravel this way. So if we were to try to unravel from this side, like, you can't unravel it. See, literally can't. So we have this anchor thread in here, and I'm gonna just go ahead, before I take it off, I'm gonna go ahead and put my finishing stitches on. I take both of these here, okay, both of those. I don't know if you can see, but I take those, and I only use the 2 on the edges because I just want it to be secure, because, you know, I'm not really true to this. I'm new to this. I'm a crocheter, so this is my first time like really making something on this machine. And so we're just gonna go into these right here. Doop, doop, doop. We're gonna go into those. So we're gonna go all the way across. I'm using single crochet. I did see another video where somebody used half double crochet, but it kind of like leaves a gap, and this way does not. So I'm gonna go all the way across because I'm pretty sure we know what we're doing here. I'm assuming that you know how to crochet here. If you don't know how to crochet, I do have other tutorials on my channel that you can check out. Now I have my my finishing stitch done, the finishing row. Now I'm just simply going to take this and pull it all the way through like this, right? I have to pull this part out because it's gonna get stuck. But pull it all the way through. Boop. And then watch, it just comes off so easy. And then from here, now since this is the bottom of it, now you can unravel it and just like, you know, wrap it back up. If you were to do it the other way, you would end up cutting that thing off so quick because you would literally have to like pick through each thing and like, you know, take it apart that way. Okay, so I have the body pieces done and the sleeve pieces done. What I'm gonna do first is I'm going to just crochet the shoulder seams together, and then I'm gonna pin on the sleeves because I want everything to be really precise because there are stripes and I want the stripes to match up. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and crochet these shoulder seams first. Okay, so this is the finished piece. In the future, I will probably find a different way to attach the panels together because I don't like that. But it does look fine once it's on. I had my daughter try it on already, but we'll probably try it on tomorrow in the natural light because it's nighttime now. But I think it came out great. The stripes match, the panels match, everything is great. The neck hole is really good. So yeah. So tomorrow I will just review things I'll do differently next time, and that's it. But I think it came out really good. I like it. It's pretty good.